I just went through all of the images that I received today from Richard. So excited. It's one of my favorite parts of my job. I've selected a number of them to send to the client right now as a film preview. I'm going to take you through the process of how I get these photos ready to send as a preview. I've created a collection in Lightroom where I've just selected all of my film photo selects, put them in that collection. And now essentially we're going to process the photos and get them ready to deliver to our clients. So by the time you're watching this, they would have already seen these photos. All right, so here are the images. Lightroom is sorting these kind of by file name or however the film lab delivered them to me. So they're out of order. And so one of the first things that I will do is put these in chronological order. Now, if you've watched my other videos, you know that when I deliver the previews, they're not in chronological order. I deliver them randomly. But a part of my process is putting the photos in order and naming them so that they're in order, so that when they're downloaded and they're in a folder on the client's computer, they're all in order. Let's go through the process here. I might speed it up because it is a little bit time consuming to reorder all these images manually, but that's what I'm gonna do. By the way, if you hear like crazy rumbly noises, that's my cat. He has a really weird purr, but this is what he does when he's happy. It's very loud. This is Rosso. Okay, so that actually didn't take that long. I think I have them all in order now. We're gonna go through one by one and make any like exposure or white balance adjustments as needed. If any of them are out of order or if I have like duplicates of certain moments, then we'll take care of them when we get there. Okay, so here's a scan of the stationary details shot on the Contax 645. I think the majority of the photos that you're going to see today were shot in Portrait 400, but there are a few exceptions, so I'll talk about that when we get there. So for this one, I think I'm just going to crop in a bit, and I'm going to leave all of the color adjustments the same. Just needs that crop, but this looks pretty beautiful, so I'm going to keep it like this. For this one, really gorgeous photo of our bride here. I might just kind of smooth out skin here. You know, sometimes photos pick things up that you don't even notice in real life. The way that I sort of operate is if anything in the image is distracting and I don't remember it from real life, or it's something that you don't like see, like if the camera is bringing to light something that's not truly representative of the person in the photo, then I kind of just like will remove that. This one's really fun. I'm going to use AI to remove this outlet. I was listening to a podcast with Sam Blake where she said something like, in my world, power outlets and exit signs don't exist. And I love that. So now it's like every power outlet, every exit sign is gone. This is a cool moment of her getting her makeup on. I might just remove like a few more of these like spots, but her skin looks really beautiful. Great, gorgeous. Beautiful, just the sweetest couple, and her dress is Danielle Frankel and she looked absolutely stunning. Love these moments of getting ready. So here I'm just like tweaking exposure a little bit in certain places, but honestly these look really good. Richard does such a good job. So similarly, like in real life you wouldn't notice those like scuffs on the door, like, but in the photo they become really obvious. And so I just like to clean up, and it just takes a second. It's like one click, but it makes such a big difference. So I might bring back the exposure actually. I kind of like it brighter actually. Yeah, that's so nice. And I might just clean up like on the floor too, these little blemishes. Beautiful. Beautiful. For this one, I'm going to see what it looks like if we just even it out a little bit. Gorgeous. And then I am going to remove this doorbell because I think it's nice without it. That's great. Love, love, love. I think most of these that we're seeing were shot on the Contax, honestly, except for that flash photo with the little girl. That one was the Leica probably. Beautiful. I'm going to use AI to remove these kind of objects in the back on this gate. I'm not sure what those are, but we'll get rid of them. Dune really hates any kind of lines or anything that's like sticking out on the edges of the frame. So she's kind of trained me to be more aware of that. So I'll crop in for her so she's happy. Beautiful. Groom portrait. Just gonna crop in a little bit. Looking very handsome. One more here. And then of course I'm gonna take out this fire hydrant, fire extinguisher. The generative AI tool in Lightroom is absolutely life-changing. Don't have to work as hard. So that's nice. So a lot of these adjustments are cropping and like removing things. I'm not really changing much with color, so that's really nice. Thank you, Richard. So these two images are kind of similar, but I think I'm just gonna leave them. Here's one more. This one looks good. I might just even out the exposure a little bit. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, I like it slightly less contrast. And then I am gonna also remove this thing in the back just to make it a little more clean. So yeah, I am using generative AI to remove. If you hold down the Option key, you can erase anything that it's selected that's not necessary. So that way it keeps the remove to something, keeps the remove to where you want it to be. And so of course, in this case, it's not working. So we're gonna try to generate it again. I don't like when it adds things kind of, oh, there we go, that worked. Sometimes it will like add things where it should just be taking things away. So that's one area that it could improve. Alas, this one has a little bit of the film negative in there, or the film border in there, I guess. So I'm just gonna crop in a little bit more, but that looks pretty good. Ugh, I love this photo. Dreamy on the contacts, holy moly. This was actually before this, so I'm gonna reorder this so that this one's first. And then I might just crop in a little bit. So this wedding was at Maddie's Tavern, which is an auberge property in Los Olivos, pretty close to us. We actually have a lot of weddings there this year. This one was gorgeous. I love this. There's this room called the Wicker Room, and you get this beautiful soft light in there with these cool like furniture pieces. So I just thought this scene was beautiful, and it's gorgeous on film. Here's this one that we already saw. And this is like a doorway in that room. Just dreamy light. I think actually for this, I had a little hobo light that I put at 5600 Kelvin, and I had my second shooter, Maddie, hold that up kind of high and light her with that. So she's being lit by the light coming through the windows, but it is kind of dark in there because this isn't like a doorway to a sky. It's a doorway to a room with a window. So it's kind of heavily diffused. So the little light from the hobo light helped. This is just beautiful. I loved this photo. When I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, like she looks incredible. Again, here we go. Beautiful. Same. This is with the hobo light. So you can see there's a little bit of spot on them because now we're in like this coffee bar room that's really dark. Yeah, I think I'm just going to leave this like this. That looks beautiful. Beautiful. Same thing, same lighting situation, but turned out really well. Here's a photo of bride with bridesmaids. Going to crop in here. Gorgeous. I love the contacts for some group photos as well. I always get the groups on digital for like wedding party and things like that. Some family photos. I also like to get film just so they have that option. Because I mean, look how beautiful skin and colors look. And then I'm gonna remove this guy in the back. Not sure what that is. Great. Beautiful. All right, here's a photo of the full wedding party on the contacts. Some of my favorites. This one turned out so well. I think everyone has their eyes open. Oh my gosh. It's an absolute miracle. Wow. So I'm gonna bring down the highlights and maybe bring down the overall exposure. Let's just see. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And then there's these like utility things in the foreground kind of that I'm going to remove. And I'm going to do that with AI. So again, just like selecting, which you could also do this with patch tool or the classic tool, patch tool. I don't know what it's called in Lightroom, but it would just take longer. All right, so that did a really good job before, after. It still looks a little bit like it's not straight. But anyway, yeah, beautiful. Elegant photo of the wedding party. Kachuba signing. For this, I'm going to bring down the exposure and just like crop in a little bit. But I like this one. It's kind of fun. He's signing and she's kind of like, just like, I don't know why she's laughing, but that's cute. Okay, this one I actually love. It's just a photo of them with the rabbi to the right, looking at the ketubah, about to sign it, I think, with all of the people in the background. I love this. I love how they're like in focus in the foreground and then all their people fall out of focus, again on the contacts. But this one, I was just like, it's so good. So I'm gonna move this one in front of the signing because I think this was before they signed. Great. And then we went to ceremony. So here's ceremony details. If anything, I might just bring down the highlights a little bit. And then same for this, maybe just bring down the exposure and kind of like crop in a little bit. That's great. And there's a car, a red car, which we're going to remove. Hopefully this does a good job. Perfect. These florals are really cool. I don't know what these things were. Maddie, my second shooter, knew, of course, because she knows everything. She's just cool like that. But these were so cool. And I was like, Maddie, what are these? And she like totally knew. And now I forgot. But I don't know. I took a photo of them because I really liked them. Okay, here are guests arriving. And I loved this scene. I thought this was so cool. Like kind of documentary. I got this on the Leica with the 35, so it's kind of wide, but there's like this really cool palm tree and then the water tower, which is like iconic Maddie's Tavern. So I loved that for like some scene setting. Okay, and then this photo. Oh, this is the bride's parents just walked her down. She's still under the blusher and the dad's giving a hug to the groom. It just makes me want to like cry. It's like, oh, it's so good. Honestly, this one I was like really happy about. Love that. Here's this one. This is kind of fun. I think the rabbi told them to look out at their people. It's kind of off center, but I don't want to cut out his dad's face. So I'm just going to leave it like this. It's pretty nice. Okay, here's one of them walking down. I was very tilty for this. I used to not like angled photos, but I've been liking them more and more recently. I think for this, I'm going to switch it to 4x3 actually, because I don't want to cut out these people, but it's just a little bit too tall. There we go. That looks pretty good. And I'm just like evening it out because it was kind of challenging light, but I feel like that looks pretty good. I bring up the exposure a little bit. Yeah, pretty good. Okay, so this is during ceremony, during his vows. So we need to reorder these guys, put them here before the walking out. And for this one, we'll just crop in. So this was also kind of challenging because it was like really bright all outside, but under the huppah, they were getting some shade on them, but only some shade. So like just kind of challenging, but I was exposing for shade. Okay, here's this one we saw. This is during sunset photos, which I found this kind of cool moment by this tree. It's going to bring down the exposure here. But that looks pretty nice. This one's, I don't remember the film stock I was shooting. I had some rolls of Portra 160, and I wonder if this was Portra 160 on the Leica. I know I also had one roll on 120 that I shot, but I don't think this was it. It looks to me a little bit bright, but I kind of like the overall kind of feeling of this. And then look at that halation on her shoulder. That's pretty cool. But honestly, I love this. I thought this was beautiful. Here's another one, which we'll just crop in a little bit. I love this. They look so happy. You can see both their rings and it doesn't feel cheesy. The way he looks at her in this photo, it's so good. And the venue and the light, it's so good. It's so good. It's so good. See, I get like excited about these film photos. Okay, this was, they did like a dancing session inside before guests sat down. So I just thought this was great. I love this like documentary where you can only see half of his face, but you see his wedding ring and her ring and like the joy. It's just like, this is what I love. It's so good. Yeah, anyway, I hope they're as excited about these as I am. So yeah, this photo was also really so fun. They did the hora and up on the chairs and she's like freaking out, but so happy about it. And he's freaking out. I think for this, I am going to remove these like spots because I can, and it will make it better. I think we'll leave the lights because those look like lights to me, but I'm not sure what these white things are. So I'm gonna just remove them. I'm using the heal tool for this just because it's faster and you're not gonna be able to tell a difference. Okay, cool. So you can see it's like a small change, but it makes a big difference. I mean, look at that. So much more clean. I might also remove this. I'm not sure what this is. Perfect. Okay, here's another just dancing photo, which I thought was so good. I kind of like these like wide, I think this is on what was this on? Probably the Leica, but I'm not 100% sure. But I like these wide photos where you can kind of see a lot happening. All right, so context photo of the appetizers at cocktail hour. They were just presented so nicely. And again, this like kind of brings you back to the day. So I like getting these. Also, as I've mentioned before, like food photos on the contacts just look so good. So fun little moment to include. This is the escort table in grapes, which is so cool. I'm going to bring down the exposure a little bit, but that looks pretty great. And just some like reception details, which I love so much. Bringing down the exposure. My style is not very like bright and airy. It's more true to life. Oh, that looks great. This looks good. I might just like straighten them out. So the majority of what I'm doing here are just exposure adjustments, some white balance where needed. A lot of it's like cropping and remove. I think I already said that, but just keep proving it as we go through here. Another thing I like to do for detail photos is I like putting wide shots first and then getting tighter. So like we'll have a wide shot, another wide shot, and then a tighter 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 shot. So it goes from wide to tight. All right, so now we're at reception. I really liked this photo of them listening to the speeches. I actually think we're gonna move these forward so the story progresses. Her dad giving a toast. I love this kind of wide shot of the whole reception, and then him there giving a toast, them listening over his shoulder, them reacting. Gosh, I just love these kind of documentary photos. This one's so good. With her ring and then the lights and the people and the venue, it's like, it's so good. This venue's great. Like, you know, obviously like they're amazing and their guests and everything. The wedding was beautiful, but they picked such a good venue. It just makes everything look so dreamy. My mom saw some of the digital previews on my Instagram and she thought that it was in someone's backyard, and I was like, no, it's actually like a very fancy hotel. But I like that it feels like intimate, like a backyard or like, you know, someone's ranch or something. It's such a special place. So cheering moment, them looking at each other. Oh, so good. I think actually we're going to move this one before the cheering moment. And then I have another moment. This is kind of similar to the one before, but on black and white film, which is just so sweet. So I'm gonna leave both of those. And then we have this cheering moment. Then they gave a little speech, which I might just crop in slightly for this. But I like how they look at each other in this photo. Oh, this one is actually before the dancing. So I'm gonna move this guy up here. So this was after cocktail hour, where they had their cocktails before they entered the first round of dancing. So that's gonna be there before the first round of dancing. Yeah, so then we were here. Here's grandma on the dance floor. Oh my God. So good. And then more dancing. Yeah, so I'm gonna remove these things because I don't like them. Yeah, cool. Love this. Oh, the first dance. So this should actually be here. So this one is on black and white film. Pretty dark, but I really liked it because what's this? This is just like dust. Because like, I don't know, it just creates a really interesting mood. So I'm just going to bring up the exposure here, and then I'm going to see what happens if we bring up the shadows. No, I'm not going to do that. Maybe the whites or the highlights. Yeah, that looks nice. But yeah, I liked this. I thought it was like kind of dreamy of them dancing. And then we have grandma and then another dancing photo. So anyway, this was my film preview. So pretty fun. Okay, so now that I've selected my images, I've ordered them, I've edited them, they're ready to be exported. I select all of the images and I add keywords. Preset, this is like my copyright, which I will apply to the images. And then this is probably the most important part, which is naming them. So the way that I do this is I'll start with the initials of the client. So we'll do RJ-00, which means preview -film, since these are the film previews. And then I insert a sequence. Great. And then all of these are named and numbered correctly. Then I select them all again and I export them at full resolution, 300 ppi. This is just like the full resolution of the file. It doesn't size them any differently than what the lab gave me. So that ensures that they're full high resolution scans into the master folder, which here's their master folder, Rachel and Justin. I go into export, I go into high res. I already have a preview, which was the digital. Now I'm going to create a film preview, and these are now going to be exported into that folder. Okay, so here we are in Pic-Time. I already have a gallery for them. These are the digital images that I've delivered. This was the digital preview. Gorgeous gallery, honestly. Like, amazing couple, beautiful wedding, beautiful venue. Now I'm going to create a new folder for film preview. So I just do that here. I'm going to drag this above the digital preview just so that it appears first. And I'm going to upload the files. Pic-Time is really cool because it will prepare the gallery pretty quickly and then upload high resolution images so you can kind of like view things as they're happening. All right, so I'm going to sort these randomly. So to sort them, I click on the 3 dots and I say sort scene, and then I say random. And I kind of find like an order, like a random order that I like. So if I need to do it a couple of times, I will. So here we've opened the gallery and this is what they'll see. Film preview. This looks good to me. It's already set up in the way that I set it up for the digital preview, so it's pretty easy. And then I kind of just scroll through and have a look at these. If the random order has put anything side by side that's like too close to each other, too similar, I can adjust that manually in the back end. But this looks pretty good to me. Now, once the photos have been uploaded in high resolution, I'm ready to send these off to the client, and I'm excited for them to see them. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, please give it a like. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. I'd love to see you at the next video. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you soon.